Hello, baseball family. Matthew back again with another episode of the British Baseball Podcast. And joining me today is Brighton Baseball's very own Jon Gulliver. John, how are we?
I'm very well, thanks, Matt. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm really well, really warm. So windows are open, hoping that no low-flying aircraft come bombing through and ruining the recording, as they have a habit of doing so. But
yeah,
fingers crossed, we're in for a plain sailing night. The little one hopefully is asleep. It should be, because it's nearly 9 o'clock as we're recording now.
Yeah.
And nothing is going to ruin this recording. Not even me.
That's right.
Yeah. Here we go. So, John, like I said, you're playing for Brighton Baseball, but before we get into all that, let's have a little bit of an icebreaker. Choice is yours. You can either give me a naff joke or two truths and a lie.
Okay. Oh God, that's a toughie. So I'm just trying to remember some good ones. So let's try and think of a couple of truths. One, that I came in as a substitute player and ended up being involved in the getting the last out of the game, which took Brighton single A into the final about 3 years ago now of the single A championships.
I want that to be true. Sounds like a great story.
Second one was I've stolen 3 bases in a single inning.
Very Ellie Dela Cruz line.
And third of all, I'm the best player in the family.
I've got to say that's the truth, or else this is going to be a horrible start to to an interview. No, I think you're the worst player in your family. I really want the first one to be true. I'll go with 3 stolen bases as being the lie.
Yeah, actually. Well, I'll always say I'm the best player, but by far I'm definitely the worst. I was trying to think. No, I made a hash of stealing from second to third in the London tournament last year, which we went on to win.
Yeah.
Don't know why I tried to do it, because it was like I was miles out and clattering into the third baseman.
No. In my first ever game, I tried to steal second while there's somebody already on it. And I was just so intent I was going to steal a base. Sorry, Adam. Yeah, that forced him to run to third, and he got out. But everyone was just stealing bases. So I was like, oh, of course I'm going to run. I just didn't think, but we've all done it. Tell us about that first story, though, about you coming on as a substitute and getting you into the finals.
Okay, so our catcher had his at bat, and it was a hard hit infield ball, which he's a real athlete in as well, so he's pretty fast. And he beat out the throw to first. In doing so, he pulled his hamstring, and he said, "No, I'm fine. I'll continue on." I was coaching third, and then he stole to second on the next play, and then we had to call time on him, and had Robin Banerjee, and our other coach, Aaron Gibbard, in a little huddle at second base with him, and just discussing their options. And I saw Aaron look over at me, and he came over to me and said, "John, can you run?" I said, "Yeah, I can run." So I went in to cover on second base. Next pitch, I basically stole to 3. It's like, don't know what happened over me. A bit like your story, really. It just came over me. Thought I'll still three. Got in safe. Next at bat, hard hit ball. Got home. Got prepared, ready to get the at bat, and it wasn't meant to be. Unfortunately, I didn't get an at bat. But so I went out into right field. Thought safest place for me. Didn't get any action, fortunately, and then had a ball, a massive line drive right down to the right field hole. And so had was my second eldest son, Liam. He was playing second. I threw the ball into him. So it was a double relay. So we had our shortstop, who was Aaron.
Yeah.
Received the ball from Liam, and then the runner thought he was going to try and score all the way around, and Aaron threw him out at home plate.
Brilliant.
So that's my little claim to fame, and that was also my first ever involvement in any baseball game whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
Playing.
That's miles better than mine as well. I hit myself in the face with the ball. And yeah, tried to steal second base wrongly. Do you want to swap careers? Brilliant. I love it. So what are your earliest memories of baseball then? And ultimately, how did your love of baseball lead you down the path to discovering Brighton Baseball Club?
So this was 14 years ago. There was actually a flyer in our primary school where Liam, obviously, who was involved in that play, he was 5 at the time, and there was a flyer up on the wall, and it's Horsham Junior Baseball Club, which we've had, obviously, over the years. We've had some really good players come from, and you've got Callum Vinewell and Jordan Edmonds still involved in the game. And so we thought, we'll go along, give it a go. We're looking for a sport for Liam to start, but as he was 5, we weren't sure about football at that time. And yeah, just absolutely loved it. Sean, our eldest, he was playing cricket at the time. He transitioned over to baseball, much preferred it. And then we've got Ryan and Ewan, basically grew up watching their brothers playing baseball, and they picked up a bat and ball at the age of 4 as soon as they were able to.
How old are the kids now?
So Ewan is 15.
Yeah.
Ryan's 17, Liam's 19, and Sean's 27.
Crikey. So you've been involved in a right long time.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so that was Horsham. And then after about that was 2010. So about 2014, Robin Banerjee and Jared Hendrickson started coming up to Horsham with their sons respectively. Started coaching there, and then unfortunately when Horsham folded, they started up a youth section at Brighton, and so we followed them down there.
Brilliant. And you're still playing now?
Yeah, the boys are. Yeah, they're all on Brighton Brewers AA team.
Lovely. Great stuff.
And
Wow.
I still make my odd cameo now and again.
Yeah, my cameos are non-existent now. I had one season under my belt, and then it's just got harder and harder. But I'm still involved with helping out when I can get down there with the kids training. My little boy just turned 7 on Monday. He's been involved in baseball. We took him down there for a taste session in 2019, so we've been 2. And ever since, these have sort of made a big fuss of him. And as soon as we could get him down there for like any sort of kids activities, we're straight down there, and he's just loved it. Ball in his hand, glove. Yeah. So it's one of his favourites. And you see him at school, in sports day with a beanbag for it like as a picture. It's brilliant. I love it.
Great, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So what do your friends think about your family's basebballing journey as well, or do they just do your co-workers and your mates know about your baseball side of your life?
Yeah, I I don't shut up about it. Basically, all our holidays, certainly over the last 2 or 3 years, have been baseball related. So it's always been kind of like tournaments. So yeah, from 2017 to 2019, we were playing in. We were involved with the Team UK coach pitch team
Yeah.
that played out in Prague.
Mhm.
And then yeah, I was then in 2018. I was with Ryan, played for GB under 12s. 2019, Liam played for GB under 15s. And then yeah, 20 losing track of the years now.
Mhm.
2022, both Ewan and Ryan were involved. Was part of the under 15s GB team. Ewan and Ewan's was in there last year and is in there again this year.
Brilliant. As a
Uh,
parent, watching them progress through the GB setup, how hard have you seen the steps in between each age level and the transition, or have they just been fairly consistent that they've been able to stay at a solid level to perform at?
I think certainly the biggest step, because see Ryan obviously he aged out last year. So obviously last year was his first year into the 18s, and I think that's been the biggest step that we've noticed. 12s to 15s a little less so, although obviously Ryan's in kind of the age group where there's actually quite a few strong players anyway. But they're players that that they've been playing with kind of over the last kind of 3 or 4 years anyway with
Yeah.
London with London Youth Baseball League and London Archers. So they've developed really good kind of like relationships and kind of like they've all kind of like grown together. And the biggest thing we've found, because obviously being completely English and not having been involved really much in the sport before, we've now found that whereas you hate to say it sometimes, as like, so when Ryan was playing in the under 12s, there was 4 players from Brighton, and another player from Guildford, there's a player from Hearts as well. But there was a lot of players from like London Sport, and you could tell the difference in abilities between the London Sport players and like those London-based players and those from outside, which was it's one of those unfortunate things. But what we've found is that obviously since we've made it was a real tough decision because the boys wanted to push on and progress further to move to LYBL and obviously start to learn more and play with that higher standard of players. Then, as I said, that transition that they've made, so into kind of like the under 15s and under 18s hasn't been quite so bad.
Yeah.
Because what they've been able to do is through just working hard, they've been able to close that gap with the coaching they've had, as well as with playing alongside those players.
So what was happening then with the London Youth Baseball setup? versus the regular clubs then? Was it just that they were training more times a week, or they were having a better quality of player turn up? I'm just wondering, like, hypothetically, there's kids in Manchester, kids in Liverpool, Newcastle, they're not in like a big hub like London. I'm
Yeah.
just wondering, like, for their chances getting a shot. So I think, like, we all know you got to put hard work and you got to have the skill and the talent.
Mm.
But like, was it a case of that they were being able to train 3 times a week? That what was it that was giving them the edge over what was happening
It was
in
it,
the
it was
clubs?
definitely, obviously, you had, first and foremost, you had the quality of players that you were playing with. It was, as I say, it was that unfortunate thing, and that you you don't want to move away from your local club. Your heart's there, and you want to see your local club do well. But there gets to a point where, obviously, particularly with baseball being such a minority sport in this
Mm,
country, where you've got like kids, and well, probably more so the parents are not willing to drive an hour to play for a couple of hours.
yeah,
Um, whereas obviously you play football or rugby or cricket in this country, and the furthest you've got to drive typically is maybe half an hour
yeah.
tops.
Mm,
Um, and more often than not, it's maybe 5-10 minutes down the road, you know, to for any games all season. So yeah, it's that level of commitment that we were typically finding. And yeah, I remember with Matt Crawshaw, the Team UK coach he was from Leicester, who we kind of I helped to run the organisation with him over the 3 years. Is that we both found it frustrating, but you know that there wasn't we couldn't create a similar sort of hub in our areas.
yeah, yeah,
But unfortunately, that's always a tricky thing.
yeah. What do you think were the stumbling blocks to stopping you forming that hub? Was it just a case of not enough kids interested, or parent buy-in, or
It's
something?
it's the it basically, well, I think basically what it comes down to is it comes down to kind of like the resources for baseball as a whole being a minority sport. And then obviously I did some after school coaching at our primary school, um, with one of the head teachers. She asked, because I actually went in for a job interview for groundsman for like 10 hours a week.
Hmm.
And so she took one look at my CV. I did football coaching. I was like massively involved in sports. I've been involved in fitness for like 20 odd years. And she said, I don't think you're best suited to the role you're you're coming in for, but would you like to do like some sports after school clubs? I said, yeah, sure. So she was like really open. We did the baseball, and we did a couple of with the local council. We played in a uh, couple of kind of inter-school tournaments.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, she retired a couple of years later. Another head teacher came in, and they basically said, "I know, same skill set as cricket and rounders," and that was it. So
what
it's
a
it's
shame.
it's getting into that. Um, it's trying to get into those schools and try and that's what I was trying to do. It's like just trying to offer that diversity. Yes,
Mm,
okay, yes, it is that similar sort of skill set, but it's a completely different game, and that's what a lot of people just don't get.
yeah. I was talking to Willington about it not too long ago, and I think he said something like with cricket, you've just got kids that are going stood in the field waiting to do something. And in baseball, everyone's doing something.
Yeah,
It's waiting for your bat and you get extra bats and stuff. And even it just seems like throughout history, the odds have always been stacked against baseball in the UK. But
yeah,
it just needs to have somebody that's willing to take a chance in it and see the benefits, and that at
yeah,
least something there to pique some kids' curiosity at that school to then go out and seek out a game or to Google it or to ask about local clubs. I remember being involved in a snowball fight when I was a kid with a lad called Aaron, who had the hardest throw I've ever felt. And I was like, how are you throwing that hard? And he said, I played baseball.
mm.
I was like, where are you playing baseball? He's in Bolton. And I was allowed to go. Yeah, it didn't happen. I remember asking for a glove for Christmas. That got shut down. But that that sort of made me realize it was there. It wasn't just on video games based on an American sport that it was being played over here. But that was
Yeah,
like back in the early 90s, mid 90s. And I don't think I would have known back then how to have found the club because like proper pre-internet type stuff. But yeah, what a shame. Who
yeah.
knows what it could have led to.
Yeah, this is it, isn't it? And coming back to you, say what you said about the cricket. That's why Sean Artist, that's why he transitioned over to baseball, because he just found it a lot more interesting. And he loves pitching.
Yeah.
Um, and because he was a bowler in cricket, and so it's like he enjoyed that battle of being on the mound.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Brilliant. How are Brighton getting on this season, by the way?
Oh, we are well, the Brewers at least, we're 12-0.
Nice.
So yeah, so really, really, really pleased with the season so far. We've had faced our nemesis team twice this season. Second time was actually just this Sunday gone, which I was umpiring as well.
I
Um,
what score did Brighton win by?
uh,
I'm
it
not saying there's any
was
biases.
so well. I know the second game was 7-4. The first game I've forgotten now. I know it was. I know that was 12-6.
Hmm. Good
So
game, good game.
yeah.
So who's
So
sorry, go on.
yes. I mean, all my three younger boys. So Liam, Ryan, and Ewan. They all pitch. Ewan and Ryan catch. But yeah, Ewan was most upset with Liam because he was pitching the second game, and not for the first time this season. He pitched a complete game, and yeah, and yeah, so yeah, that was a complete 7 inning game as well, and it was 104 pitches.
Wow. Good going.
Um, yeah,
That's impressive.
so yeah, he's not the hardest of pitchers, but he locates really nicely.
Brilliant. Who are some of the best players that you've actually seen playing like in live? That can be within British baseball, on the fields or umpiring, or I'll even allow the games that you've seen live, like any London Series stuff or on your holidays.
So well, so certainly kind of like when we've been to tournaments, there's been some really good performances, and obviously I'm going to be a bit biased when it's come down to kind of some of um our team. So that'll be kind of London Archers, Team GB, um, and certainly probably one of the most notable players that I've that we've I've no that I noted actually when we were playing Guildford a couple of years ago. we just could not catch up to his pitches, and for the life of me, I forgot. His dad is involved with Guildford, Burdett, and yeah, he's playing. If I recall, he's playing for Cardiff this season. Michael Burdett is the dad. But I do remember, this is going back when Sean was playing for Horsham Hornets. We travelled over to Bracknell and watching Callum Vinyl pitch, because he used to do javelin as well, and it's like how much of a rocket that ball just travelled. It's like just flat.
Yeah.
Wasn't even coming down whatsoever. And yeah, it's just really, really, really good to see. I've only, in terms of kind of professional games, I've only been to the London series games each year, fortunately enough. But yeah, that's just the thing for me from that perspective is just really just enjoyed watching it all, and some of the fantastic players. I love, in fact, being I kind of took on Red Sox as my team from our Horsham days, where we had a couple. So the boys basically played for Horsham Red Sox in our own little league, and a few of the coaches were Boston fans as well.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took them on as my favourite team, and so you had the likes of kind of Mookie Betts. I really enjoyed watching, and you watch him now, it's like how much of an athlete he is, how strong he is, and you look at him as from a physique perspective, and you think, there's nothing. It looks like there's nothing to him, yet he's hitting bombs. And from the perspective of like myself and the boys, we're not exactly blessed in the height department, but so then that comes to then you've got the likes of kind of Altuve, Inspire, kind of middle infielders, but super strong, and again can hit that ball out of the park like it's nobody's business. And yeah, it's just inspiring to see, and it's good to see that obviously in baseball you can make of yourself what you will, and you can still be successful. It's not like in kind of the NBA where you have to be super tall, or it's not like in football over here where it's a case of it's very rare in football you'll see a player kind of under like 5'6", 5'8", and it's just really encouraging that you can effectively can't be any shape, size, and just and you can use that to your advantage and be the sort of player that suits your physique, rather than just trying to make yourself into this particular model.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite on-field memories throughout your time involved in baseball?
I just absolutely loved. So 2017 was that was the first year of our Team UK. So we had we had kind of 5 Brighton players, 4 Leicester players, and then we had I think it was a couple from London Sport, a couple from the Mets, and a couple from LYBL as well. So it's like a good mix of players. And of course, we went out there first time ever. We didn't know what to expect whatsoever, but of course, the beauty of the Super Cup, as they call it out there, is that you have your round robin stage, and then so 6 in each division, and then what then happens is that then the top 2 go into kind of each one, play for the Super Cup, and then it's the different colours for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So 6th place then play kind of knockouts for the Yellow Cup. And yeah, we had I'll have to get the pronunciation of the surname right now. Benjamin Mills Knutson hit a walk-off double to win the final, and it was like just absolutely amazing. We had, so obviously everyone had like Ewan had just turned 8. Had Matt's son who'd just turned 8, and then obviously you had up to 8, between 8 and 10-year-olds. There was about 15 of them, and it's kind of, we were running around the field. I was on the coaching staff. All the parents were like cheering away, and it's like, and like we grabbed the Union Jack and like ran around the field again, and it was just such as I said, from the perspective that we went out there not knowing what to expect, completely in the dark, and not just no plans to achieve anything in it, and to come back with that trophy was just absolutely phenomenal. It placed us 21st out of 24th, but a trophy is a trophy, and it was like such a great achievement for such a young team.
Yeah, well, lovely memory. It sounds like baseball has played a massive part in your life, but just how important is it to you?
I tell you, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, certainly right from it's really sort of like taken off for us as a family from that 2017. But it was really in about 20. I'm just trying to remember how old Ewan was. We said to him, because he was still playing football, and it was crossing over with full ball, and it was like, you can't, it's getting to a point where you can't commit to doing both. We've got to say one or the other. And he's like, I want to do baseball. So like since then, it's been full on baseball sports for all of the boys, and it's taken over our lives. Where it's very rare because of being involved in GB, being involved in London Archers, LYBL, and then with Brighton Baseball. It's like there's very, very rarely a weekend in the entire year where we're not doing something. And it's created some great friendships, and unfortunately a family we've made good friends with kind of last year. They're moving back to the States this year.
Oh no.
But we're hopefully plan on going out to see them next year. But yeah, it's just the biggest thing for me, and I've said this to people in the past, my proudest moment moments are the boys. Seeing how what we can take a certain amount of credit as parents as to how much your children can grow as individuals, but to see how they handle themselves on the baseball field, and to if it sometimes, especially as well, if you compare it to kids who play football over here, or rugby, or well, probably more so football, is that in baseball they might get upset about umpire calls. They might disagree with calls, like the boys did with me on Sunday. But they, through their playing of baseball, they learn to have those short memories. They learn to just use that and to grow, and to realize that fundamentally life is primarily all about failure, with that bit of success. But when you do get that success, it's that big success. And I can probably officially say now that so obviously Ewan's been selected for the GB team that's going out to Lithuania. I'm on the coaching staff for that, but then Ewan and Ryan are going to be playing out in the States in August.
Wow,
because they London Archers, they won a tournament in the Netherlands earlier in the year. And so for them to achieve that sort of level and potentially get that sort of exposure, Ewan's quite keen on going down the college baseball route.
Yeah.
It's just is to think that sort of level of achievement in this country in cricket, football, rugby is just so hard to achieve, just because of the high level of competition there is. And this is all what we've always said, it's like, where else, what other sport can you compete for your country in this country? We're lucky, to play baseball and be involved in baseball.
Yeah, like you said before, you've got all those memories yourself of playing, and the kids being able to do all these extraordinary things by playing baseball for GB. Seeing the places and the doors it could potentially open. I mean, the memories it's going to create for them, it's going to last a lifetime.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that what you've mentioned? Like a lot of stuff there. It doesn't sound like it's a very cheap venture.
No.
Is that what made you decide to run the London Marathon for sports aid, to try and generate those additional funds?
Yeah, so I heard about sports aid last year. So we had obviously 3 GB players were put forwards by the BBF and BSUK to sports aid for nominations for financial awards.
Yeah. What is sports
Um,
aid for those that don't know?
Yes, through sports aid. Then sports aid, then they receive these nominations and then they process them. And then fundamentally, Ewan got funding last year, which helped cover the cost of his GB trip. So we were played out in Germany last year.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously that helps, quite a bit. Now, so last October, we'd just got back from, and it's another memory. We'd got back from a tournament in Barcelona. It was the Perfect Game tournament, which London Archers 16U won. And I was in work that Monday after we'd got back, scrolling through Facebook, and came across that Sportsaid had guaranteed places for the London Marathon, and I thought, because I did the marathon many years ago, in 2000 to be precise, and I always fancied doing it again. I'm one of these mad people, but as I say, I work in fitness, so that's part and parcel of the comes with the territory. And so I felt as well. I thought it was appropriate that that we knew that Ewan was being put forward again for this year. At that time, I felt, what better organisation to raise money for, to help give back, and to help give other young GB athletes a chance, for some funding to help them.
Incredible.
So
how much did you raise?
It just seemed, for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer. It just took a little bit convincing with my wife, but she was behind me, despite the fact that towards the end of these 6 months of training that I spent, just like saying, I wish you'd just hurry up and get the training finished with.
Brilliant. How much did you manage to raise for Sportsaid?
I was just looking at that, actually. It was £2,444.
Crikey, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You should be really, really impressed with that.
Yeah.
Are people listening still able to donate?
I believe they are. So Sportsaid, I know they are announcing tomorrow, or that around about tomorrow, the actual total that the group of marathon runners raised. I'm pretty sure that I can check to see if it's still viable for people to donate, even if they can't donate directly to the fundraising page I've got.
Yeah, if you send me the links, I'll make sure it's in the show notes. So anyone that does want to donate, you can always click on those links, and you can donate that way. And if it doesn't let you, then it's not it's not open still. Thank you so much for sharing these stories. It's been fantastic and really interesting. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go? The last word goes to the guest.
No, I mean, as I say, I've always been, whenever the boys have been involved in any sport, we've been football. As I said, I was coaching football from 2007. I've always just been prepared to just throw myself in. I mean, as I say, I didn't know anything. I've only picked up my knowledge of baseball through watching the boys play. I didn't have any prior knowledge before that. And so the only thing I'd add is, like, for any new parents out there, it's like, just throw yourself in. The sport is, it was fundamentally, desperate for more coaches, volunteers of any description. We've got one of our dads down at Brighton. He's absolutely great. He's just taken on the role of grounds person for about the last 2 or 3 years, and he's through going through some of the training that the MLB have done at Farnham Park in terms of grounds maintenance. He's gone along to those, and he's just learnt everything. You know, we've got a fantastic scorekeeper. She's who does all our games. Gets stressed at the app sometimes. But yeah, I can't. As I said, the thing for me, when whatever my boys have been involved in, I've always said, right, what can I do? What can I do to help? I'm lucky from my background, you know, with having a sports and fitness background, that I can apply some of the knowledge I have to, like particularly, for example, with the hitting side of baseball. I apply some things that I've learned through the many years of kind of like teaching classes and through kind of like coaching cues that I've picked up over the years for different exercises. I think, I can apply this to this, and it's just for me. It's like just thinking outside the box and just looking at things from a different perspective, and everyone can bring whatever life lessons they've got into the sport, and to help to develop our young athletes.
Yeah, I agree. It's many conversations I've had with people who think, oh, well, I can't play. And it's like, well, you know, it's not about playing. You touched it there, you know, British baseball needs volunteers, either umpires, scorers, people selling drinks at the games. You know, there is a role for people out there to be involved with a British baseball club. And you know, you be outdoors, it's good for your mental health, and you get to watch your local community baseball club play.
Yeah, absolutely. And it beats being stuck on the sidelines in the middle of winter coaching a football team.
100%. 100%. Jon, it's been lovely to have you on. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing your stories. And I'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you, Matt. Nice to speak to you.